Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to review and test out two new products I bought. I've been in the market for some more watercolor paints as I am running out of my current ones. Neither of the products I bought are very expensive. They're kind of beginner student watercolors. So the first watercolor set I bought is an 18 count from wish.com. And this is my first purchase from Wish, so I'm hoping it goes really well, and I'm hoping I enjoy the quality enough to actually use the product. This one was probably $7 to $8, so not too bad, and I'll open it up for you guys. I haven't actually taken the plastic wrap off quite yet, but this is what the paints look like. I'd say they're a little small, to be honest, and I'm not sure if I love the colors that they're showing on the outside of the packaging. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to test Wish out and see if they're a good product. And then my second one is from Reeves. I've used them in the past, not for watercolor, but I think for acrylics instead. And I've really enjoyed using them. So this is a 24 count pack, and it has a lot of color options in it. So quick look here at the Reeves paint set, and quick look also at Wish. Also, I'm going to comment on parts of the time lapse, but we'll have music playing for most of it. I'm going to start with the blue, and I have to note during this part, the Wish paint was really difficult to open up. I couldn't get paint to come out without pushing the end of a paintbrush into it, and it was just really tough. I was really surprised that the paint wasn't coming out. And then of course the Reeves came out immediately. There wasn't like a film or anything keeping the Reeves from coming out. So that was nice and easy. So going forward, you'll see that I have two different paintings. Reeves and the watercolor is going to be on the left, and Wish and the Gouache is going to be on the right. So using my first blue, I'm starting out with this one so that has a little bit of time to dry. And so far, the Reeves was pretty much what I expected it to be. It's like any other watercolor I own. Also, now might be a good time to talk about watercolor versus gouache. The Wish product is gouache, so the one on the right hand side, you'll see it's a little bit more pigmented. It's technically still a watercolor, it's just more opaque. I honestly had no idea it was gouache until I got the box in the mail. The text and advertisement on Wish showed that it was watercolor, but I may have also just overlooked it saying gouache, but I double checked and it just said it on the box in really small print. But yeah, so far the first layer is very similar for both. I would say again that the Wish paint is definitely more pigmented, which is only because it is technically a different medium versus the Reeves is the true watercolor, which has a very nice kind of transparent texture. So I'm going to start going in now with more paint on my brush for each of these to help create some more shadows and more depth. And generally, watercolor is really great at, being able to layer different colors on top of each other and really start to create transparency, lights and darks. So the Reeves is pretty much going just as I expected. Layering really nice on top of the other watercolors I had already done. The Wish, I'm actually pretty disappointed with how this blue turned out. It's kind of like a milky, weird texture on top of the other watercolors, and it wasn't as crisp as I wanted it to be, and I think you can see that just in this time lapse here, that there is quite a big difference in the way the dark blues play out. So I'm going to just keep adding some darker blues and darker colors to really help the contrast in the paintings. Whether it's gouache or watercolor, a buildup of paint always helps, add a little bit more depth and interest to the painting. So yeah, I'm going to finish that up, go in with the darks. And then at the end, you'll see I'm going to go in with some pen and ink and really sharpen the lines that I painted over, especially the gouache. The gouache kind of hid the ink lines a lot, which makes sense. It is opaque, like I've said. There's nothing wrong with it. It just hides the ink a little bit more than the watercolor. So just to wrap up with a couple more comments, I think the Reeves paint, which is this one, is perfectly fine if you're a beginner artist, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend going with this. I think if you want to try out Wish, that's fine. But the shipping times were really long. I waited probably about 2 months for this to come in. It's a little bitty bottle, and just to show you in comparison, so Reeves, the bottle is this big. So that's a huge difference. And I think $7 for 18 of these little bottles and 2 okay paintbrushes versus $17 for 24 paints that are much bigger. I would say Reeves is the better option. Their shipping times are really fast with Amazon. I got it in 4 days from ordering it. And then I'm sure you can pick it up at Michael's or your local craft store as well. So definitely I would recommend Reeves. I think the Wish product is totally fine. It had 1,000 really good reviews. But again, you're paying for a little bitty tube and then you can get a lot more for your money if you go with Reeves, which is a much bigger tube. But yeah, I enjoyed doing both of them, and I hope you like this video. All right, thanks guys.